Welcome to the Maybe Baby Diaries podcast. I'm your host, Mariah Montgomery. Here we'll discuss all things infertility like heartbreak, joy, growth, loss, and the wild, crazy journey that it is. Let's bring awareness, education, and understanding to the table. You aren't alone. Together, we've got this. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Maybe Baby Diaries podcast. I am here today with Sarah. Sarah, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I'm so excited.
I'm really happy that you're here with me. I'm excited to talk about everything.
Yes.
So tell me about how you and your husband met.
Okay, so we did go to the same high school and we knew of each other, but we weren't in the same group because he was a senior, I was a sophomore.
Yeah.
But he went on an LDS mission to Cali, Colombia and got bit by a mosquito and it gave him Zika.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it shredded his knee. He had a surgery before his mission on his knee, and Zika attacks your weak points, and he was playing volleyball and it shredded his knee. And so he had to come home for his surgery, and we happened to run into each other at Walmart while he was home recovering from surgery before he went back out. And, we recognized each other. We said hi and everything. And after that, he messaged me and we started talking, went on a few dates before he left back out on his mission. And I was like, I didn't really think he was gonna, anything was gonna happen with it because he had a girlfriend pre-mission. And so I just didn't know what was happening there. But yeah, so I didn't email him or anything. But when he came over last time, I reached back out and he actually didn't text me back for a few days, but it's fine. But yeah, and so we just started hanging out after he got home and it just felt so comfortable, just like, this is my person.
Yeah.
And yeah, after a few months of dating, he's like, I'm going to marry you. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
But yeah, so kind of fun. That was kind of short story, but
yeah, that's okay. I love it.
But yeah.
So how long was it before you guys got married?
We dated. So technically we dated for about a year before we were married, but yeah, if you count pre-mission.
Yeah.
Dating.
Yeah.
But we weren't official until 7 months before we got married. But
So growing up, did you always want to be a mom? So Sarah and I are in the same religion, and motherhood is like
big.
A big thing in our religion.
Yes, it is. It really is. Yeah, I don't know, ever since I could hold a baby doll, or know what a baby was, I was like, I want to be a mom, so fiery passion in my heart. That was always what I wanted to do. And I remember in elementary school when they would ask us, what do you want to be when you get older? I always, on my papers, I would put, I want to be a mom, or I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And I sometimes would have teachers you're going to be a mom, but what career do you want? I'm like, that's what I want. I want to be a stay-at-home mom and to be able to be with my kids and watch them grow.
Yeah.
So fun. So fun. But,
yeah. So you and Levi got married. How soon after did you guys have the let's start a family other than just the two of us conversation?
Right. I know. It was actually 6 or 7 months after we were married. I remember being in Relief Society and I just had this burning feeling you're supposed to start your family. And I was like, I don't know how Levi's going to take that, you know? But I went home and I told my husband, I'm like, I know this is crazy and it's going to sound crazy, but I feel like we're supposed to start our family. And he was like, I've been feeling the same way. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah. And he's like, I've been trying to deny my feelings. And to kind of push away the prompting. But I feel like that's right,
Yeah.
And so we started trying. And about 5 months after that, we got pregnant with our first. And we were so excited, thrilled. Yeah. But then I was about 15 weeks pregnant when we found out. When we found out there was no heartbeat. So kind of sad.
That's so hard.
Right?
That's so hard.
Yeah. And then, we went to the ER and they told us oh, there's no heartbeat. And, at that moment, I feel like I knew because I just knew, your mom heart knows.
You have this innate intuition, I think.
Right?
Just as women.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah. But when the ultrasound tech, which she was the sweetest lady, she just bawled with us, which
Oh.
I know some people think that's not really like professional, but I appreciated that she had real feeling, not just like a sorry, like
Just bad
this is
bedside
happening,
manner
you know?
and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so sweet. And yeah, and hearing that news obviously was devastating, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and heartbreaking. And I didn't even know what to do with myself. Like,
Yeah.
so hard. But yeah, and I am thankful for Levi that he's willing to try and that he was willing to put forth that effort and that we weren't like, why did God tell us to start a family and then take that away from us? It was more like, well, we can't deny that was our answer. Like that was what we
Yeah.
wanted to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so even after that, we were like, okay, well, now we're confused. Like, should we continue to start trying? Should we take a step back? Like,
Mhm.
was this what needed to happen? And it can be so confusing, you know?
Yeah. I
So
do.
confusing. But yeah, and then I'd say 5 months after we miscarried, we got pregnant again. And we were so excited. And again, all those same emotions of thrill and, oh, we're going to be parents. And then I miscarried at 12 weeks with that one. And again, like, wait, what?
Right.
What? This was not supposed to happen. And like so devastating and heartbreaking and over, you know, like just those
Yeah.
emotions are so strong. But we feel such a special connection to them, even though some will consider them not yours or, you know, not a baby. But
Yeah.
to us, like they are children.
Yeah.
And we hope to be able to reunite it with them again in the afterlife. But
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, so about 7 months after we were married, we started trying and then it was confusing, you know, and hard.
Right. Yeah.
And it wasn't until we were married for 2 years, I think, after that. So it was like a year and a half, almost 2 years, we got pregnant with Paxton. That was our first like successful
Right.
pregnancy.
So throughout your whole pregnancy, were you just so worried? Like
So worried.
when you got to your 12-week mark and your 15-week mark?
Yes. And so disconnected, honestly. Like I couldn't, with the other 2 pregnancies, I got excited instantly, you know, and I was
Mhm.
like, oh, this is going to be great. With Paxton, it was so different. Like I remember taking the test and I was pregnant, you know, but I was like, it wasn't like, not that I wasn't excited, I was, but it was like instant worry, like instant
Understandably.
anxiety, you know, and I was like looking out the window and I was just like, okay, but is everything going to be okay? You know, like, am I just going to lose this baby again? And the whole pregnancy, I felt that way. You know, I felt like I couldn't connect to him, which I don't know. That might sound horrible, but it's
No.
not that I didn't love him. I knew I loved him, but I didn't want to have to put myself through that heartbreak again of being excited and you know, and then having to lose the child. And it wasn't even until I was actually delivering him and the doctor was like, we can see his head. And I was like, oh, yeah, like that's exciting. And he was like, do you want to fill it? And I was like, I don't know. That might be kind of gross. But I did. And I touched his head and all these emotions like just washed over me. And I was like, just so filled of like, this is real. Like, and this is happening. And he's here. Like he's coming and I get to
Yeah.
hold him and he's mine. And oh, it was just amazing, you know, like, but it wasn't until that moment where he was there.
I bet it
you
felt
know?
like so healing.
Yes, so healing and just, yeah. And oh my gosh, the most amazing feeling
Yeah.
to finally get to hold your baby. And after all those years of heartache and trying and failing. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, but yeah.
And then where did you guys end up?
Yeah. And then short 3 months after, we got pregnant again, which is just such a miracle to us. Like,
Yeah.
it was crazy. And, you know, we weren't preventing because we knew our history and we knew that it had taken us a while to finally get there. You know, 2 years later, we finally got our baby.
Yeah.
But yeah. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, you're crazy. Like, and I'm like, I know we are crazy, but it's such a miracle to us. And we wouldn't have had it any other way, especially. And I know other women that have lost, and even husbands that have lost a pregnancy, they know that feeling of, yeah, it's crazy. And yeah, it might be hard sometimes, but we wouldn't trade this for the world. We wouldn't
Right.
wish this away any day.
Yeah.
Like, it was just pure excitement, like, and also like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, but but just so much love and some nervousness still,
Yeah.
I don't know if that will ever go away for a mom that has lost or for a mom that has struggled getting pregnant. I don't think that will ever go away. The
Mhm.
worry of how is this pregnancy gonna go? But and then again, when he was born, it was just that same like, okay, he's here.
Yeah.
And it's okay and you know, peaceful and they're such good friends. So it's so
They're so
good.
cute.
Thank you. Yeah, and I don't know, just such a miracle. And even if those are the only two babies we ever get, I'm so thankful, that we were able to have that miracle after the trial, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. And they are seriously the cutest baby.
Thank you. I agree.
So, when you guys were trying, did you guys do any fertility treatments? Did you guys like do all the things that everybody recommends, or did you just like try naturally for your
Thankfully,
babies?
yeah. So thankfully, we didn't have to do necessarily a fertility treatment.
Mhm.
But after our second miscarriage, our doctor, he told us to do this study. So it's called the Earnest study. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. So pretty much what you do is you take a baby aspirin every day until like while you're trying to get pregnant. And then through your whole pregnancy, you take a baby aspirin every day and that's supposed to help just the chances of miscarriage to be less.
Yeah.
And so we did do that, and it's been successful for us. And so we've done it every time since,
Yeah.
just because it worked, and we're like, okay, if this is what's going to work for us, then that's what's going to work for us.
Mhm.
And even my doctor, every time we've gotten pregnant, he's like, okay, make sure you're on that pill because that works for you.
Yeah.
And with our last pregnancy, he did also check just all my levels to make sure they were all good and everything. But yeah, thankfully no fertility treatment, but a few studies we tried and yeah, the Earnest study worked for us.
Which is awesome. I'm
Yeah.
glad that you guys found something that was able to help you guys get your little miracle babies.
I know, yeah.
Yeah. Seriously, I've said it like 4 times, but they are so cute.
Thank you. I know. I do love them. And I love that they're both boys. There's so many people that are like, oh, do you wish that Ridge was a girl? And I'm like, no, honestly, the second I knew I was pregnant, I was like, I hope it's a boy.
Yeah.
Because they are so close. But and I know boys and girls can be friends too, and that it can still be a good relationship, but it's just so freaking cute to
Yeah.
watch those two boys like
Yeah.
run around and play and
And they
oh my
have their little
gosh.
buddy.
Yes.
Yes. So, when you and Levi were in like the very middle of the journey, what do you feel like was the hardest part for you guys, like as a couple?
Honestly, probably not knowing how each other like truly felt. He knew I was sad. He knew like it was hard for me on my body physically and emotionally. But, for me, I'm not gonna lie, like I feel like I was like, I'm the only one that's sad or,
Yeah.
But then for Levi, he felt those emotions so strong too. And he felt that loss so strong too. And I remember when we moved into our house, he came home from work one day and I was, cleaning the kitchen or something. And he came into the kitchen and he was crying. And I was like, Levi, what's wrong? And he was like, our house is so quiet.
Aw.
And so then I just started to cry too. And he was like, I want a baby so bad.
Aw.
And it was just so sad. Like, and I think that's probably one of the biggest times where I was like, he feels the loss too, and he feels the emptiness too.
Mhm.
And it's not just me. And after that, it was more like, I feel like a bonding experience for us. Like it definitely brought us closer together and it definitely brought us a little bit better of a relationship in the way of I'm here for you when you are grieving and I'm here for you when you know, need somebody to
Yeah.
cry with, or, and it's not just like a don't come to me with your sad emotions, which is how a relationship should be. We should be able to show the bad and the good. And
Yeah.
but yeah, it definitely helped us just really cleave to each other. And even if in that moment of our life we're like, maybe we'll never have a child, but at least we have each other, and
Mhm.
we know each other's pain, and we know each other's sorrow, and we know just how hard it can be to want something so bad and to not be able to have it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was definitely one of the saddest things ever when he came home and he was crying.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I don't know. Definitely did help our relation. I know sometimes it can pull relationships apart, but for us, it definitely helped us be stronger, like
Yeah.
together. And
Which is awesome.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
It's hard to like go through those things, but I mean, having somebody to go through it with you
Yes.
and feel everything with you just makes like all the difference.
Yes. Yeah, I
I
totally
I
agree.
understand that. What do you feel like gave you, I mean, and Levi, but like what do you feel like gave you the most hope? Like how did you hold on to your hope for the whole process?
Honestly, I really hung on to that feeling and to that, prompting if you're religious, but um that God did tell us, you should start a family. And I just kept thinking, if he's telling us we should start our family, and I strongly believe those babies were supposed to come, and that was the trial we were to go through. But I really held on to the fact that, okay, I know God wants us to have a family, and I know he's going to bless us with a child. And I don't know, and even just seeing other people's kids, like, honestly helped me, because I was like, "They are so sweet, and I want that," and it gave me
Yeah.
hope that I would be able to get there one day, hopefully. Um, and also a good healthcare team definitely helps
Yes.
a
It
lot
really
too.
does.
Some can be pretty discouraging, but,
Yeah.
to have the right doctor for you is just amazing too. Like,
Yeah.
that they just care about you and your journey. And that gave me a lot of hope too, because my doctor was always like, this is okay, and you're okay, and you will be a mom. And and it
Oh,
was so, yeah. And like, I'm like, I don't know if you can really promise me that, but
but thanks.
but I loved that he believed in it too, because
Yeah.
it really did help me give hope that, okay, my doctor is hopeful, and so I can be hopeful too.
Yeah. I love that. Do you ever feel like there was a point where hope was really hard for you to have? I mean, I'm sure like
Yeah.
in the middle of the miscarriages and everything, that was
Right.
just
Yes.
overwhelming, but
Yeah. So after that first miscarriage, I was just devastated, and I was like, I don't even know like what I'm supposed to do with my life, and
yeah.
I'm never going to be a mom. Like, and I was just so discouraged and so sad. And through that, like, I feel like I was able to, cleave to my husband more and cleave to God more, and to strengthen my testimony. But at the same time, it was like that was a piece of me that was just gone, you know? And then when we miscarried again, that was like even deeper, like of a depression, And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, my body is just not made to have babies, I guess. Like, and I can't hold them. And should I ever even try to get pregnant again? Because is it just going to continue to happen? And I didn't want to continue to lose pregnancies. And
Right.
it was just like, oh, I was so just devastated. And after that, like, I was like, I don't know if we should even try yet, because what if, it's
Mhm.
always the what ifs. And I was, yeah, a little discouraged to get to that point again. But after I was able to heal physically and mentally, and then still just having that, like, no, you're a mom, and you are going to have a baby, I was like, okay, then let's do this again. Like, let's try again. And then it took forever. It felt like,
Right.
to get to that final point, and to even, I don't know, to the birth of my to Paxton. Like, I felt like through that whole thing, I just was still, I don't know how to feel.
Right.
Kind of
Yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah.
The deepest.
I know. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I feel like even just being willing to try again is like the biggest show of faith, not just
Yes.
for, I mean, Heavenly Father, God, like whatever you believe in, but like
Right.
also for yourself
Right.
and in your husband and in your marriage. Like it's so hard to try again after a loss
It really is.
and to put yourself out there
Yeah.
and be like open, like fully realizing that you could be opening yourself up to that heartbreak and
Right.
that total devastation again. Like,
For sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Not only that, but like for us, it's like, it's not that I don't care about those miscarriages anymore. It's not that I don't think about them still. And
Right.
it's just, and that was a big part of it too. Like having a born child that is alive and living, like, it's like, I never would want anyone to think, oh, she's happy now, or which I am. I'm so happy, but
Yeah.
that I don't care anymore
Right.
about those losses
Uh-huh.
because those are still something that we hold so near and dear to our hearts, and that still, can make us cry sometimes, and
Yeah.
we still feel that loss, and yes, we have something to hold and to love and to nurture now, and it's so wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's hard to want to try again because there's just all of those emotions.
Yes.
And you don't know how you're going to feel and you
Yeah.
don't know what's going to happen.
It's so scary. It really is. Have you guys found a way, like, in your marriage to kind of honor those two losses, those two babies?
Yeah, actually. So, when we miscarried our first, we were able to hold him.
Oh,
Yeah, and it was the sweetest thing. And my husband counted all his fingers and all his toes and his nose and his ears, like he had everything. And
just a perfect little baby.
yes, yeah, he was so tiny and so sweet. And I miscarried at home, and so I passed the baby at home. And normally the doctors are like, okay, just flush it down the toilet.
Yeah.
But I was holding that child, and I was like, I cannot like just flush this down the toilet. This is a baby. Like,
Yeah.
and my sweet mom, she got us this little white box and some tissue paper, and my dad dug a 6-foot hole in their yard,
Oh,
and
that's so sweet.
yeah, and we had this little burial, and we put this beautiful yellow mum bush over it. And so so that was August when we miscarried our first, and then February when we miscarried our second. And on those dates, we'll go and we'll visit that, and we'll visit the little mum bush. And
Yeah.
just, and it's so like peaceful for us to be able to go to a place. And then also Levi got me a necklace that has a forget me not flower on it. And so I'll wear that sometimes in our family pictures. I'll wear that. I'll always wear that.
That's
And
so sweet.
yeah, so that it's almost like they're there with us, and that's
Yeah.
our symbol that, we have our two babies and we don't forget them, and they're always included. And yeah, so that necklace is something that we really hold on to. And then that mum bush, and sometimes we'll get mums for our porch. And so when we pass our porch, we'll be able to remember them. And it's just so sweet to be able to have something,
Yeah.
and to be able to celebrate that, those babies did happen, and that was a huge part of our life. And so, yeah, I think it is really good to be able to have something to hold and to have.
I agree. I agree. I mean, it might not work for everybody, but when we had our miscarriage, I have like a bunch of like little things that I just collected and I still have them in my bedroom and I look at them all the time and
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a few shadow boxes that we put our ultrasounds in and our pregnancy tests, and
Oh.
from those first two. Yeah. And a cute little onesie my mom got for
Oh.
our second. Yeah. Yeah. So sweet. And so, yeah, we have those displayed in our room as well. As long as we also have a picture that somebody painted for us with this little boy and this little girl. Like I'm holding this little girl and our little boy's holding Levi's hand. It's so sweet. And so we have like a little shrine for them in
I
our
love
room.
it.
I do too.
Yeah.
It's just like so peaceful to have that there. And I feel like honestly seeing it more and talking about it more helped me heal,
Mhm.
and helped me to know, you don't have to, when you have a loss, you don't have to shut them out. That doesn't have to be a piece of you that loses. that's lost forever.
Yeah.
It can still be a part of you, and it can still be a part of your family, and that is you. That is who you are. Whether you're going through treatments or, you haven't yet had that baby yet, it's still that's part of you. And I feel like it should be talked about because a lot of times I feel like that's why we get so depressed,
Yeah.
because we're just holding all those like they're huge emotions in, and nobody knows what you're going through, and then we become bitter too.
And it's so easy to do.
Oh, yeah, I was so bitter the first time after. Like, it was so hard for me when I'd see other people pregnant. And so then that's when I was like, "You know what? I need to talk about it. I just need to talk about it to people and answer questions." And I feel like through that, I've been able to help a lot of people,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea that you went through that." And I'm like, I'm able to be like, "Yes, yes, we did, and I'm here for you." And there is hope. There is hope. Um,
I love that you're willing to share, like, not just your I mean, it's all like an infertility journey, but like
right.
also, about those two sweet babies, like
Yeah.
that can be really, really hard to do. I think
Yes.
it's awesome that you're so open.
Oh, thank
Yeah. What do you feel like throughout your whole journey was like the biggest lesson that you've learned? And that can be like just you or like you guys as a couple.
you. Right. Honestly, and this goes back to religion again. But I think really relying on our Savior, Jesus Christ, that really brought me a huge peace and a huge understanding that I knew Jesus Christ knew how I was feeling. And he knew, my pain, my physical pain that I felt, passing those two miscarriages, but also he knew my emotional pain, and I didn't have to suffer through that alone. And that really healed me. That better understanding of the atonement. It's not just, oh, you know, he died for us so that we can go to heaven again.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not just that. It was he's there for us so that we can not ever be alone. That really helped me and really healed me. But I also think, religion aside, um, being able to help other women that are struggling, who that are, going through a loss, and to help them to know, like, it's okay what you're feeling, and it's okay to be angry, and it's okay to be sad, and it's okay that you don't feel like doing anything because you just miscarried, and you
Yeah.
just found out that your baby doesn't have a heartbeat. And that's devastating. That is so devastating. And you do not have to be okay. And you don't have to be, happy because those are sad things, and they are real.
Yeah.
And it's so real. And the world can sometimes make it not real, but it is. And I feel like me going through that, it was really nice to have someone to tell me it's okay to cry. And so that's for me, I'm so thankful for that trial because I love being there for people and to hopefully give them hope and to lift them up a little bit and to give them a hug, whether it's distant, like a
Right.
virtual hug, or a physical hug, to just, I don't know, to have a community that you can just be with.
Yeah.
I think it's huge for me.
I agree. Oh my gosh. I agree. Everything you said, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. If you had, we can try three. If you don't have three, that's okay. But if you had three pieces of advice for somebody that is like finding themselves in the middle of like recurrent pregnancy loss or infertility struggles, what would those be?
My first one is don't forget that you are a mama. Those babies are real, and they are yours. um, and second, don't give up hope. It can be so hard and it can be so discouraging. Um, but but one day you will have a baby, and whether that's through fertility treatments or through adoption, or you're finally able to be blessed with a pregnancy, those are all still very real. It doesn't matter how you get your baby, that's your baby, and there is hope. So don't give up hope. And third, don't be afraid to talk about it. don't be afraid to, you know, share how you're feeling and share the emotions and the loss and the trial of the fertility treatments and the trial of not being pregnant that month and another negative test,
Yeah.
that is okay to talk about. And it's okay not to talk about if you don't want to talk about it. But don't hold don't hold in the hard emotions. Like whether you're talking about it with just the loved ones that are in your circle or with the world. Don't be afraid to talk about it because it really is so healing and so I don't like it's not something you can really describe
Hmm.
when you're able to just talk about it because it also opens so many other doors of other women that are able to come to you and be like, I'm going through this too and I'm so sorry that you're going through it. Or how did you handle that? Or how are you handling it? I'm going through this too and I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And we need that. We need that as this community, like to be able to talk and even for our own healing. So don't be afraid to talk about
I
it.
love that. I love that so much. I know when I started sharing our journey a little bit more on social media, like when I posted about it for the first time that we had like our miscarriage, and then later on, like when we'd been trying for or what felt like, forever, about a year at that
An
point.
eternity.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I remember like both times, those two big moments when I shared our miscarriage and then our infertility struggles, like all of the messages that I got and all of the texts and everything, I was just like, this is a huge issue. And
Mhm.
we really don't talk about it because all these people and almost every single message, it was I've struggled with this too. And I didn't know anybody else that did. And then it was the thank you for sharing. And I think I
Right.
realized like with both of those times, like we really do need to talk about it. I mean, obviously, if you're not comfortable, that's okay.
Right.
That's totally
Right.
fine. And we can honor that. But there's just this amazing camaraderie that comes from opening up
Yeah, for
and
sure.
being vulnerable.
Yeah. Well, and I have a sweet friend and she just moved away, but and they've been trying ever since they got married and, miscarriage.
That's so weird.
But she knew my story because I had shared it and so she reached out to me the first time and she was just like, "How did you handle? Like what helped you see through?" And I was able to be there not only for her hard times, but now she's pregnant.
Oh, yay.
And I'm able to be there through her happy times
Mm-hmm.
too, and I'm
Yeah.
able to celebrate with her, but I'm also able to sorrow with her. And I just think that's so good. I think that's just so healing for me, but also probably for her
Yeah.
that she's
Absolutely.
able to have a person, like you said, like it's just so healing to have other people.
Just to wrap up, in one word, how would you describe infertility?
It's hard.
Yeah.
Hard. And it's beautiful too. The end goal is beautiful,
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely hard. And I don't know, that'd probably be my word, hard.
I think that's a really good word to use.
Because, it's not easy to have all the things, you know,
Yeah.
all the medications and all the hope and the discouragement and everything. It's just hard.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah. Awesome. Sarah, thank you so much for being with me today and for sharing your story. You are amazing, and I'm so happy that you guys got to the end of the
Oh,
journey with
thank
that
you.
being your two sweet babies.
Thank you. Yeah, and thanks for having me on the show. Like this is awesome. And I'm so glad that I was able to share and hopefully help some people.
I'm sure you're helping somebody out there. I really, really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, guys, we'll see you in next week's episode. Bye.